So yeah, thank you, Daniel. And you already introduced lots of things that will help to know how to contribute to data modeling. And this is part of also of this presentation. So yeah, I'm Matthieu Anne, so I work as a software architect at Orange. And I've recently joined Daniel as a co-leader for this data modeling working group. Project stream.
You're being modest. You have been there for a while, and you've entered the circle of excellence for your work already.
No, I'm still like yeah, quite young regarding to these activities, and when we see those people just attending these BDF meetings, so but it's still very exciting to be part of this. So yeah, thank you very much. So as you may know, the TR-181, I mean, device 2.17 has been released last January. And so it is described in the TR-181 technical report. So it's also very used, but we try to use the data model names and yeah, USP names instead of referring to the technical reports. So and yeah, I'm mentioning Randa later on, so that's why I'm doing this part. And yeah, and we are trying to release a new, I mean, to publish a new release of this data model every 6 to 9 months. But those last time were, I mean, recently was more like 6 months than 9, but we
will see how that goes.
We will see how it goes.
The plan is the plan, and the reality might be different.
As always, but this is not strong promise, but this is what we try to achieve here. Have I got it right this way? So I'm here to present what are the updates that have been integrated in this new release 2.17. So starting with the TR-181 support for, I mean, device to support to dynamically manage software applications. So as you may know, software model management in device 2 are articulated around 3 main concepts. So this is the execution environment, also known as EE. So you might find some reference here, EEs in the slides. The deployment unit, so they use the execution unit as EU. So in previous release 2.16, there has been hard work done to this software model management, adding, for example, the capability to control and configure the resource restriction to apply to execution units. So defining the allocated disk space, the memory, CPU usage, and so on. So 2.17 is adding the network configuration support to define the list of interfaces to allow, sorry, got my mouse, just, it's not, it's slippery on this, it's gonna fall. So yeah, what was I saying? Yeah, I've got my notes also. It's the first time I'm using so this kind of thing, so it's a bit disturbing. But I will go through this. That will be fine. So I was talking about a network configuration. So to define the list of interfaces to allow the network traffic to, I mean, from the execution unit and the port mapping associated to a specific execution unit. So the network configuration is defined and when installing and updating the deployment unit responsible for this execution unit. I don't know if it's a bit confusing. It's better with some schemas, but this is part of this contribution. So. And of course, all the interfaces that will be allowed must be part of the available interfaces at the execution environment. So, because otherwise the update or install command will fail. So we also added in this new release the possibility to provide environment variables to execution unit when created. And the last parameter that I'm mentioning here is the DU module version that has been defined, can be defined by a controller during the installation and updates. So to provide more versioning flexibility than only a package version. So for example, two different model version can be associated to two deployments of the same package, but with different resource limits. So another, we almost mentioned this. So a more USP-oriented update relates to onboarding process of an agent. So a USP agent has the possibility to send onboard request notification to a USP controller under certain circumstances. So those are, for example, being requested by another controller through the send onboard request command, or because of some internal agent policy. For example, when the agent has discovered a new controller through DNS SD mechanism, this kind of thing. So you want to notify to tell the controller, please start having a relation with this one. So, however, the onboarding process may take some time and things might go wrong. And so thanks to those new parameters defined here, the onboarding complete and the onboarding restart time, it is now possible for the agent to resend an onboard request after a certain amount of time that is configured in the onboarding restart time. Yeah. So this new feature, Syslog, can be considered as part of the agent reporting capability family. I mean, there's a lot of way to send some information to different parts. We have mentioned the bulk data, so this is yet another way provided by this service of the Syslog. So it is now possible to configure the Syslog service, defining some filters for the Syslog message with facilities, severities, and so on. The source of the message, so where and how the message was received, and also formatting to harmonize the sent message. So when defining the action to be performed, the USP agent will either be able to send a log event notification to the USP controller with a complete Syslog message, or forward the Syslog message to, this is kind of the out-of-bound mechanism, I would say, to the Syslog relay or collectors. But also, it could be configured to log the message in the vendor log files. And logs, and speaking of logs, got this next contribution to disturbing this. Log file, that is introduced in the 2.17 is the log rotation management. So this well-known object enables to define, always, I mean, this is to define the and so this enables to define settings for the log file rotation. So with the number of files to rotate on, the maximum file size before rotating, the rollover, which is the parameter that enables to define the maximum times before rotating, and so on, and the retention parameter, the time the file should be kept on your system. Okay, so I think we could say that 2024 will be the year of the Wi-Fi 7. I mean, at least publication. So, no.
Depending on who you ask, it's already happened.
I mean, And however, the Wi-Fi 7 features related to Tier 181 data model are unlikely to change. I mean, because it's advanced specification there. And so device 2.17 is integrating the initial support for Wi-Fi 7. So adding some extending, I mean, for example, the enumeration making reference to the Wi-Fi standard that is being supported to add the 802.11be standard. For example, in commands such as the channel scan or all those things, where you will get as the output parameters the standard that is being used discovered, so it will be part of this, and also lots of the MLO stuff and this thing, which is more. I've mentioned the data element here. This is more the Wi-Fi 7 support is also part of the data element. There has been an update among the updates on the data elements was to include the parameters that were missing from the data element 2.1, and also we start integrating the data element release 3 by anticipation of the publication. But I don't think release 3 is already published by the. We're missing Ken on this. Okay. Okay, so we have made several extensions to the DNS object with the support of local LAN DNS zones. So the DNS zones are created for manageability purposes. So each instance of the zone corresponds to a zone file configuration, providing the IP interface is assigned to it and on which the zone is available, and the table of hosts to define the resource record of the DNS zone. So we also added the possibility to have access to the DNS relay cache configuration, making the association of the IP interface on which the DNS queries are received on the list of, and the list of forwarders to be used. So you may also retrieve information such as the cache size, mean and max time to live of the entry in the cache. We also added a command that may be triggered by the USP controller to flush the cache and these kind of things. So finally, previously we had some support for the DNSSD service table to get the list of discovered DNSSD services, but limited support for the advertised DNSSD service. So only we had some information on the interfaces to use, but that was it. So it is now possible to get information on DNSSD services to be advertised as provided in the DNS SRV records. This is good. So yeah, the host object so provides information on each of the hosts on the LAN, and the host access control enables to control the internet access of LAN devices. So this is just to mention we added another parameter, so physical address mask that enables to apply the configure access control to a set of device instead of per device. If I was this, so there's also lots of new things regarding the firewalling and port mapping. So we have had a parameter to get the maximum number of port mapping and port triggers that can exist for a given time at any given time, and the value of 0 for those parameters, meaning that the device doesn't have any defined limit. So that's the way we do this. On the firewall side, we've added the interface setting table to associate to an IP interface. So this interface setting can be used to enable or disable, for example, the ping support to decide to reply or drop the ICMP echo request packets, or again to disable the firewall spoofing protection and other things like this. We also added a connection tracking object to enable dynamic configuration at runtime for LG, for the abstraction layer gateway, So to support various application layer protocols, with SIP, H323, and so on, FTP. So finally, regarding those firewalling and PortMapping, there were new least duration parameters that were added to determine the time to live for pinholes and DMZ. So it was already defined for PortMapping. So we are just doing the thing the same way. Origin. So also this is also impacting the same set of objects. So we've added several origin parameters in different places that are mentioned here. This was previously done in 2.16 for the first two, the pinhole and the DMZ. So those origin parameters are enums that track the specific instance that track if a specific instance, so the NAT port mapping, the host access controlling tree, the DNS zone, the zone host, and so on, where if they were created by the user, for example, through a web UI or the system itself, or even another USP control. So there's lots of many other things. It's not possible to go really into the details, but yeah, I would not go through all the new things that were integrated when we decided when we received some contribution to support MoCAT version 2.5, because this is a huge contribution. We also brought some clarification in different places, such as the periodic statistic and the monitor object. We extended the IP layer capacity command with parameters to support the multi-flow and multi-service testing capability as described using the TR 471 annex, issue 4. What did I say? Yeah. So, and we added other parameters checks, some, for example, to check the integrity of the download file and this thing of thing. So, there are many other things on the way for the next release, the 2.18, even if we are not sure yet when it will be published. But there might be a feature that you might want to see in future device 2 data models. So, and perhaps you will even want to contribute to this effort. So how this can be done. This is where I get to how to contribute. So to contribute, you need to be a BBF member. So if you are not yet a BBF member and you are interested in becoming one, so reach out to Rhonda. So this is how we do, and she will be very pleased to provide all the information that you need to know for and furthermore. So yeah, I mean, for contribution purpose, I mean, Daniel already presented a lot of things. I was going to go through a kind of workflow that we might be using, but just to know that everything starts with a GR issue in the dev2DM. So the dev2DM stands for device to data model. So this is quite easy to remember, and it ends with the closing the GR. So I don't know if I should say this, but I forgot. Previously, to creating the GR, you should just rename yourself as David, and this will help. This is what we do. I mean,
rename yourself David Clintz.
No, the bus members group will understand this.
That's a bit of an inside joke, but I do want to explain a little bit. What Matthieu's showing you here is that the all of the features that went into 2.17 come from all of you, right? So if there's ever anything new that you want in there, and Matthieu will say this in a minute, but come to us sooner rather than later, and we'll guide you through the process of adding that stuff to the data model so it becomes official and standardizing. You don't have to worry about vendor extensions ever again, unless it's something you never intend to share with anybody. So most of these feature updates, like I said, come from people like you, but in this case, a lot of it came from Purple Foundation through David.
So as time is running, I'm just see the clock. I don't know if yeah, do we want? I mean, okay. So this full tools that we are using. These are very standard tools. I mean, there's nothing special about this. So yeah, the Jira. This is where you will describe your contribution, and we will follow the state of this contribution. We really appreciate when it's possible to start a new branch to host this new contribution that is done in the Git repository. So we're using Bitbucket, and where you will have some comments on your proposition. So at the very early stage, this is really great. If the contribution needed, so there is an optional discussion page that can be created. So where, I mean, at all of this stage, there will be some kind of discussion. And also, I mean, Daniel mentioned all the report tool that we are using. This is also using the build phase through the Bamboo. So when you did your everything properly, you will have some build for your change, and you will see and validate if everything has gone correctly. And it's also very interesting because it will produce some artifacts where you will see something that are more like human friendly for the readings than going into the XML. It depends on how people appreciate this, but this is really nice. I was planning to show you just to give you an idea of this, to make it more concrete, because everything was already presented. So do you think we should go? No, just I'm almost at the it's just to okay. Let's just go to it. We just need to do something about this.
Much time do we have?
Oh, none. I lied.
Sorry?
I lied. We're out of time. Yeah. So Matthieu has a slide that has a little bit more of this process in it. But the key takeaways of it are that, you know, you're bringing something to us. We're going to help you review it and help you make it better, get input from your colleagues. You can see this is our Jira system right there.
Well,
if it survives the process, then
I could just, well, this is, okay, this is classic. I mean, there's nothing special about this. I would just want to pick one of the, so I will take one with an open pull request so that we could go through this okay process. Picking this one. Oh, I've got this up in the way, sorry. So this is where we describe this. Usually there are some comments. This is not the case on the one I picked, for sure. There's the related discussion page here, where I don't know if I should be opening this.
Yeah, no, don't.
Too late. No, but I was just there's reference to the Jira issue. No, what I wanted to go through is more like the the pull request and the build. Okay, pull request. Do I need to go through the pull request?
Well, don't show
don't
show too much of that either.
No. I just wanted to go to the builds artifact.
Oh yeah.
And this was just to. It's okay, dude?
Yeah. So so the point of all this is that
just to say that even at any stage of your contribution, you will be able to have access to this document that you know. And this, as you can see, it is working on the 2.18 here, and we will find all the. I don't know where to go to. This one was the. I should I know. Up. Let's get there. What I wanted to mention and show to finish this is that you have the release that is mentioned here. So it's easy to find if it was part of the 2.17 or the one that you are working on and these kind of things.
There you go.
So this would say concludes my presentation with I don't know how to do this. Just does this work? You see? Yeah, great.
Okay.
This was my final word, final advice. So reach out to us as the sooner as possible. You will have some advice. You could be easy to ask question, and perhaps on the way to deal with the topic you are bringing. And so this is great. So thank you very much. And yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Any questions? We want to help you do these things, and so we will facilitate this process as much as we can, and we're very friendly people. So
the data model is growing forever, right? But there are some obsolete parameters. Are you just removing them, planning to do so?
Yeah,
there's a process for that. And the process is described in tier 106. So basically, it's a multi-stage process. Whenever we identify something should be removed, we are basically creating the thing that's going to replace it. Then we are referring to the other one as going out, and then we mark it as deprecated, and then obsoleted, and then deleted. So basically, it takes 3 versions for something to disappear completely from the data model.
So going on the web page that is to browsing through the data model, you will see all those parameters that were deprecated. They will just just on the web. I was trying to yeah. You will see they are just like, how do you say this?
hash. They're like they have lines through them.
Hash, but also they are compressed. Those
they're collapsed, and you can expand them.
You can still follow and notice when it was deprecated and what was the reason why, and if it was done in another way, you will find your way to find what is being replaced with.